From secret tunnels to item vortexes, here are 407 Minecraft facts you didn't know existed. What's the smallest mob? I used to think it was the baby chicken or even the pufferfish, which is only 0.35 blocks big, but they're both not even close. The second smallest mob is the baby turtle at 0.12 blocks, and the first smallest mob is the tadpole at 0.08 blocks. When items get stuck in the ground, they float to the top. Using this mechanic, we can actually create an item too. Just point a dispenser up and place a pillar of glass blocks. Any dispensed item will travel up the glass like a working tube. Dispensers can be used to dispense armor directly onto yourself, but something lesser known is that this works with horses as well. Just point dispensers at a horse and you can equip saddles and horse armor. Talk about a quick wardrobe change. Some skeletons can naturally pick up swords in the Bedrock edition and they swing it super fast. You stole my sword! Okay, you can just keep it. You can create a working mirror, sort of. Just place pigs on some stained glass, and then on the other side, you can place the pigs on top of barriers, then name them dinner bone. This will create an illusion of a mirror. You may know that sponges dry out in the nether, but it actually happens in another biome. In Bedrock edition, wet sponges placed in a dry biome, like a desert, will dry out after a few minutes. Just another reason you should never use furnaces to dry them. Crossbows take forever to reload, but if you constantly give yourself a fully loaded crossbow, you can rapidly fire them like a machine gun. Get back, monsters! Particles are beautiful, but you can make them way prettier. You can spawn all kinds of particles like lava droplets, crying obsidian, or even block markers. My favorite is summoning a lot of cherry leaves because they'll form a pretty looking cave. How do you make a sand wave? You can do this by creating a large area of bubbled columns and then stacking up sand blocks in a similar diagonal pattern, just like on top of signs. Once you break the bottom block, all the sand will fall in a bouncing wave. It's like a sand hot tub. Before version 1.15, you could use the Silk Touch book to mine things, and it'll actually work, saving you tool durability. This could also be done with a fire aspect book to light mobs on fire. If you set a ton of skulk sensors and iron trapdoors on top, you can create a beautiful wave. Throwing a single snowball down will create a ring of trapdoors, opening and closing. When the trapdoors close, they create sound, reactivating the starting skulk sensors and creating an infinite loop. We end up getting these crazy patterns. Villagers can actually wear armor if you use a dispenser. Doing so will let you put thorns on a villager or even a pumpkin. However, if the villager turns into a zombie, it disappears in Java Edition. No, my pumpkin! What would touching a creeper feel like? Well, Notch, the original creator, said that a creeper in real life would feel crunchy, like dry leaves. Ew. This is a quintuple pig spawner. It's one of the rarest glitches to occur. The glitch happens on this seed on version 1.16. The easiest way to make a wave machine is just by using a few powered rails and mine carts. It's already pretty satisfying, but you can level it up by extending it many layers. You'll get a much better wave. If you activated a nether reactor core in Minecraft Pocket Edition, the blocks around it would turn to glowing obsidian. What's pretty cool is that you could actually mine it in this state, and you could keep the glowing obsidian. I wish this still existed. What would a shulker look like without its shell? Just throw a potion of invisibility to see. Oh, okay, I see why you hide your face now. Don't break this block. Well, unless you want to be extremely satisfied. These amethyst blocks will instantly regenerate, and with an efficiency 10 pickaxe, you can break them very quickly. Steve's hands used to be extremely useful. Before shears were introduced, you could obtain wool by just punching sheep. It's like his hands had scissors on them. TNT could also be lit by punching it, and the explosion can be cancelled by punching it again. Minecraft used to use item IDs, so if you wanted to give yourself a certain item with commands, you'd have to memorize the numbers of all the items, which were a pain. However, there was one upside during this time. You could actually get some illegal items like the lit lamp, glowing furnace, water block, or even just lava. Save your rotten flesh. Rotten flesh is almost completely useless because it gives you poison when you eat it up, but if you feed it to your dogs, they'll be perfectly fine and heal up. What's the best way to fish? It actually depends. If you're looking to get primarily fish, you should fish in shallow areas because you get less treasure and more fish. However, if you want more treasure, you should fish in deeper water so your bobber is surrounded by at least a 5x5x4 area of water. Some blocks, like bamboo, will completely collapse if you punch the bottom block. So if you make a really tall one and break the stem, the entire tower will collapse. This can be done with other blocks too, like cacti, sugar cane, and my personal favorite, dripstone. Ah, so satisfying. There's a way to have looting bows in survival. It's impossible to put looting on your bow normally, but if you hold a looting sword in your main hand and bow in offhand, the looting effect will apply. What's crazier is that the looting glitch also works with snowballs, so you can get extra blaze rods in the nether. In Minecraft in-depth, before crafting tables were added, how did players craft? Well, you could actually just press the B key to bring up the crafting grid. That's cheating! This giant pillar of dripstone can break in seconds. If I activate this observer, all the dripstone will gradually break all the way up into the sky. god, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. You probably know that to make snow golems and iron golems, you need a carved pumpkin, but another secret block actually works. You may think it's the normal pumpkin, but that surprisingly doesn't work. The other block that works is the jack-o'-lantern. You may know that dispensers can place pumpkins to spawn golems or even skulls to spawn withers, but they could place another secret block. Up to version 1.8.5, dispensers could place command blocks. When you finish a raid, you'll get the hero of the village effect for killing all the pillagers, but Minecraft lets you do something cursed. You can slash effect the pillagers around you to have the hero of the village effect. There's a way to equip 127 diamond helmets. If you try to give yourself more than 64 of one item, it'll spread out in your inventory. However, you can actually summon an armor stand holding over 64 items with this command, and you can take the items from it. If you try to put on all the diamond helmets, it won't work, but you have to instead right-click the armor in your hotbar. This also works with other equipment like the chest plate and leggings. I'm undefeatable! This is the most inefficient staircase ever. It takes 18 blocks to go up just one block, and although it's not very practical, I think it looks pretty cool. Minecarts float on bubble beams, and you can create some pretty cool contraptions with this feature. If you send a minecart going at fast enough speeds, it'll bounce across the water and then back onto rails. Beacon pyramids can be made out of any mineral blocks, whether it be gold, iron, diamonds, but the combinations can also be mixed. So the pyramid is made up of different ores. This way, you can fake a netherite beacon by just coating the outer layer. The chiseled stone brick is actually not centered. You can see the visual difference by placing a torch on top. I can't unsee this. This is a shield spear. It was created by McMakistein and protects you by surrounding you with shields. When mobs come and try to attack you, the swords are spiked outwards, not letting any of them get you. This crossbow makes it rain TNT. The arrows will rain bombs like a beautiful rainbow, and it looks gorgeous. I like to destroy massive amounts of dripstone using it, or even use it to kill a ton of cats. If a silverfish has poison, it'll cause another nearby silverfish to break out. So if you create a huge area of infested blocks and throw poison at a few silverfish on top, instantly the bugs will all crawl out and the huge cube of silverfish blocks disappears in seconds. If a charged creeper is given invisibility, the blue aura can still be seen. So if you stack a bunch of them on top of each other, you'll get this beautiful beam of light. When you kill a strider, it for some reason drops string. But there's actually a really good reason for this. They drop string to explain how piglings crafted their crossbows. When creating a new world, sand sometimes generates floating in the air. But if you break a single one, all the connected sand blocks will update and come crashing down. It's especially satisfying when the sand is connected to large sections. Have you heard of the chopping enchantment? It was once considered the worst enchantment. You could put it on an axe and it didn't do anything different. Later though, the chopping enchantment was renamed to cleaving and makes the axe do more damage and disables shields for longer. This enchantment is found in the combat test snapshots. Baby mobs in Minecraft are normally friendly and don't do damage, but not baby polar bears. They're still ferocious and try to kill foxes in Java Edition. I wonder if it'll attack me. Whoops. This barren wasteland has no life, but if you place a single grass block, it'll gradually spread across the entire world. But to make it extra satisfying, you can also place a mycelium on one half and grass on the other half. The two blocks will have an epic grass versus mycelium war. Did you know the Wither and Ender Dragon have names? The Wither boss in Minecraft is officially named Simmons, and the Ender Dragon is named Gene by the developers. Obsidian normally takes forever to mine, but not with Haste 255. You can shred through hundreds of obsidian blocks. It's also satisfying to mine a bunch of ore and then collect the items afterwards. Silverfish used to be allergic to soul sand. In versions before 1.15, the silverfish's hitbox was a bit too low and would suffocate in the slightly smaller soul sand blocks. But something even more satisfying is this automatic cobblestone farm. Cobblestone will continuously form and get pushed by pistons. Once it enters the blast radius, a TNT will explode the cobblestone, which will then flow down to the collection system. The machine will run forever and generate infinite cobblestone. Silverfish love to be annoying, so I trapped a ton of them in this obsidian box, and pressing this button will explode them all. These pests are the worst. Save your old bows. If your bows are running low on durability, don't throw them out. Instead, use them to craft dispensers, because you can use any durability bow for them. This mod makes water super realistic. Placing sand on top of water will push it out. Infinite water sources don't exist, and dispensers will only shoot a drop of water out. If I blow a hole in this dam, water will start gushing in and flood the area. Eventually, the water level outside the dam and inside will level out. Sorry for ruining your homes. The saddle pigs are pretty slow, but right-clicking the carrot on stick actually makes the pigs speed up. What's even more surprising is that the heavy pigs can actually climb up ladders. They've got some pretty strong legs. By throwing a snowball at a group of wardens, they'll all huddle towards the sound and form a circle with their antennas, lighting up in a ripple pattern. I think they may be getting annoyed. Stop Stop jumping on my crops! You probably know that jumping on crops destroys them, but it used to be so much worse. In beta versions of Minecraft, just walking on crops would break them. However, if you placed fences beneath the soil, the crops would be immune from trampling. There's a way to become invincible in survival. Blocking with a shield while entering a nether portal makes the shield continue to be held out even once you exit the portal. This allows you to both swing your sword at the same time as having your shield held up. You can get snowy grass as an item. Most people think it only exists as a block, but that's not true. To get it, travel to the infinite dimension snapshot, write in a book, SkyGrid, and locate the snowy grass block. Once you find it, transfer your world to the one block at a time update and put the block in your head. You can now update your world and you'll have the actual item. There are 4 enchantments you can put on the fishing rod, but how about the carrot on stick? When you try to enchant the carrot on stick in an enchanting table, nothing will happen. But on version 1.8.2 pre-6, there was a glitch where you could just combine an enchanted fishing rod with a carrot and the enchantments would actually transfer. Putting a thick item like an iron block on an item frame will make it stick out from both sides. You can see this best when you put the item frame on a slab or fence. If you get 3 stacks of bottles and put them single file one by one into a brewing stand like this, you can click on the first, second, and third stack to get 190 items in survival mode. Unfortunately, the game doesn't let you store the 190 bottles in your inventory, so it's mostly just a fun trick. But if you drop the item on the ground, a mob that can pick up items can actually pick it up. Minecraft's menu screen can have all sorts of cool splash tags. However, all references mentioning Notch, the creator of the game, were removed, like made by Notch. If you're feeling a little cold, this will warm you up. Just slap a bed down inside a pool of lava and you won't take any damage. And while being warmed up, just make sure you get out quickly. Ouch! Hot, hot! If you put the dinner bone name tag on a horse, you can still ride it. The horse will be freestyling on its back somehow. This also works with saddled pigs. If you look at the bottom of a shulker shell, you'll see a unique spiraling pattern. But what's stranger is that a similar spiraling pattern is found on the bottom of ancient debris. Maybe that's why the shulker shell is so tough. Ghast fireballs deal the most damage in the game. When you hit a fireball back at the ghast, it'll deal 500 hearts of damage to it. This is because Mojang wanted the ghast to instantly die if the player successfully rebounded the fireball. Minecraft's recipe book has a secret Easter egg. If you search Excited ZE in the recipe book, it changes the game's language to pirate language. Or how do I change this back now? Minecraft blocks actually tell a story. Some chiseled stone bricks have mobs engraved into them, like the Warden, Reaper, Wither, Skeleton, and Hoglin. In beta Minecraft, Enderman used to drop diamonds instead of pearls. I wonder how they got those. Look at this error block. It happens in Java Edition when a texture is missing. Fun fact, the black and purple textures are that way because they're so eye-catching and let developers know something is wrong. You can make an item whirlpool. First break 4 blocks in the middle and then break 7 blocks out on each side. So you get something like this. When we place water in the middle, it'll create a mini whirlpool. Just throw in items and they'll start twirling in circles. How many striders can stack on top of each other? When striders were first added in the 1.16 snapshot, there was no limit to how many striders could spawn stacked. This made it so you could find even quintuplet striders. When you put a lead on the bottom one and got on the very top one, it'd cause you to start flying upwards. Unfortunately, this is no longer possible because striders can now only spawn in stacks of 2. This sword is illegal, although it just looks like a normal golden sword. If you take a look at the enchantments, you'll see they're stacked super long with a bunch of duplicates. The item is impossible to get in the latest version, but on this version, piglings had a chance to spawn with these insanely powerful swords. Beacons don't work if they have blocks in the way, so it shouldn't work in the nether, right? Not exactly, because Mojang wanted it to work in this fiery dimension, so the beacon beams can actually shoot through bedrock. Super weapons were created on this server. In 2B2T, there are overpowered weapons consisting of level 32,000 enchantments. These weapons are extremely powerful, being able to knock back players into unloaded chunks, have armor that'll make you invincible, and sharpness that'll instantly kill whatever you touch. One of the least known Minecraft versions is the Pi Edition. It was made to run on small computers like the Raspberry Pi, but it had a special feature. Quartz blocks were added to this version before they were officially added to Java. By naming a villager Dinnerbone, you can flip it upside down. The villager can then be placed on top of a barrier block or iron bar, making it look like it's hung upside down by chains. Once it turns night, a horde of zombies will spawn and the villager will be terrified. The villager won't know the zombies can't reach it though. To make sure no mobs attack, you can build a hostile mob switch. The contraptions overflow the world with hostile mobs and make it so no more can spawn. If you have a railway system leading underground, you can easily trap it with a detector rail and a piston sending you falling. Bubble columns are one of the best ways to travel quickly upwards, but you can also create one of the deadliest traps with them. Just spam a bunch of harming potions at the top of the bubble column and then block it off with with obsidian, and whoever has to swim up next will be a goner. Vertical slabs are in Minecraft. By placing redstone blocks on either side of a stone wall and TNT on those blocks, the wall will stretch to look like a vertical slab. Although not too practical, it's still pretty cool. Everyone knows fire burns forever on netherrack, but there are 4 other blocks this happens on. The first 2 you probably know are soul sand and soul soil, which create an eternal blue flame. The third block with infinite fire is actually magma blocks, and the last one that is a bit more unknown is the bedrock with crystals in the end. Everyone knows that you should never hit a zombie pigling or all the rest to charge at you, but if you kill it in one swing, all the piglins won't know what happened and stay peaceful. Obsidian takes forever to mine, with even a diamond pick, but how long does it take with a fist? One obsidian takes 250 seconds to mine by hand, but if there is an elder guardian nearby, it'll take about 25.7 hours. Darn it, let me out of here. The bubble column block is one of the most useful things for traveling upwards, but you used to be able to get the item. On Bedrock version 1.20.31, all you had to do was place a soul sand water block on top and lantern. If you break the lantern in the water and hold down your pickaxe, you'll be able to get the water column item. This happened because of a mining progress transfer glitch. If you don't have a flint and steel and need to light a campfire, you're in luck. In Bedrock Edition, by putting yourself on fire and walking over a campfire, it'll light it up. Ouch. What if you could enchant any item? Well, on Snapshot 12W49A, there was a bug that let you. It could be done with anything from blaze rods to even dirt blocks. This dirt block is super powerful. Are you as tired of water freezing in cold biomes? You can try placing light sources like torches or glowstones, but they're ugly. Instead, you can use a waterlogged slab that'll never freeze. But it gets even better. Kelp can also be put inside water, and it also will no longer turn into ice. You may know that potions can be stored in cauldrons on the Bedrock Edition, but something few people know is that the cauldrons will save the potion state. You can put throwable lingering potions inside it, and if you pick it back up from the cauldron, it'll still be lingering. If you want to torture a slime, simply lock it in a cube of slime blocks. Slimes aren't able to jump on top of slime blocks, so they'll be forever stuck. It's a bit cruel because they're jumping on dead slimes, but you can just trap magma cubes and feel less guilty. You can fall from 1,000,000 blocks in the sky, and if you land in a single pixel of water, you'll be fine. But it wasn't always like this. Before update 1.4, jumping into shallow water would cause death, and if you wanted to survive or fall, you'd have to land into deeper water. That could catch your fall. I'm glad this was changed because water bucket clutching wouldn't exist. Before the aquatic update in 1.13, any items that you threw into the water would all float down to the bottom of the ocean floor, but nowadays they all float up to the surface and bob in place. It's really helpful because oceans used to be so much darker, so if you lost your stuff down there, it was pretty much gone for good. This is a creeper converter. When lightning strikes a creeper, it turns into a charged one. So if you build a chamber like this with a lightning rod in the middle, just throw a channeling trident at this lightning rod and it'll light up all the creepers. And if you throw the trident again, it'll kill them all. This is evil. Separate 2 animals with a wall, and when you breed them, it'll actually work. Too bad the animals can't see each other though. This armor set was deleted. Studded armor was supposed to be in between leather and chain armor. It kinda looks like clay armor and could be crafted using iron and leather. Unfortunately, there wasn't a good reason for it to exist, so it was deleted. Redstone can be surprisingly satisfying. This is a minecart wave machine. It uses slime blocks and repeaters to bounce up minecarts in a beautiful pattern. What's even better is you can exchange the minecarts for villagers and terrorize them. Lava and dripstone is a deadly combo in Minecraft. If you place lava on top of a dripstone block, it'll make lava slowly drip down. You can set up a glass chamber with a few lava dripstone blocks to literally rain fire on those annoying hostile mobs. If you have a ton of enemies outside, you'll need something that shoots quickly. By placing redstone torches, redstone, and dispensers like this, you'll create a rapid fire turret. Anything can be put in here, from arrows to fire charges to fireworks. This contraption is special because you can extend it horizontally as much as you want. You can rain arrows on mobs. Most of the time, arrows do damage, but if you use healing arrows, you can rain down at your enemies forever. This way, the mob will feel the pain without dying. To make it last for such a long time, you can fill the dispensers to the brim with double chests and hoppers for extra backup. Then use healing arrows to rain pain onto your enemies forever without them dying. How do you get the uncraftable potion? You probably have seen it once or twice in the achievement menu, but what about getting the actual item? One way is by just giving yourself a potion. But if you don't want to be a cheater, just go to the 3D shareware update and you'll find the uncraftable potion in one of the barrels. Minecraft crops grow super slowly, but with this trick you can speed it up. If you plant different crops in alternating rows, it'll quicken the growing process. You can see the difference best when the different crop farming types are side by side. Fish out of water flop a lot. If you put them on top of slime blocks, they'll start bouncing super high because of it. This also happens to guardians, where they bounce exponentially higher each time. Most people think it's impossible to beat super flat. All you get get is a flat grass world, but contrary to popular belief, you can actually defeat the Ender Dragon. To get blaze rods, lava can be found at blacksmith villages to create an obsidian and a nether portal. Then Eyes of Ender can be used to find the stronghold, which is for some reason floating in the air. Just have to go over here. If you're trying to make a cobblestone generator and keep messing up, just use a mangrove root. When you put water in roots, it acts like a container. This way, you can easily create a cobblestone generator. By dispensing diamonds at the wall of honey, they'll fall down in slow motion. The diamonds can then be routed back up with hoppers, so the items will rain down forever. Just watch out for pesky thieves. Hey, those are mine! Dolphins are also acrobats. If you trap them in a small body of water, they can actually jump from one body of water to another. When ghasts were initially added, they shot burning snowballs that were extremely deadly. After that, there was also a bug where the ghasts could shoot flaming diamond helmets. Snowballs don't damage most mobs, making them amazing for annoying mobs. In this case, you can build a small room where the zombie will never be able to reach the golems. The zombies will be whacked in the head with snowballs and unable to stop it. Or you can just trap a zombie and surround it with snow golems. It'll be bonked from all sides. If you create a copper-only world and increase your random tick speed, all the copper blocks around you will oxidize super quickly. At the edge of your world, you'll even see an oxidized copper spreading like a virus to normal copper. The gradient looks pretty. Did you know the Deep Dark was initially going to be underwater? According to the original roadmap for the update, underwater lights, floating jellyfish, and even ghost blocks were in the works. However, since this didn't match the creepy theme of the Warden, it was never implemented. This next defense is unstoppable because Guardians have 100% accuracy and can be perched on top of towers like this to create Tesla beams. Anyone who comes nearby will be shot down. Another way to create a great attack tower is with Wardens. By using bubble beams, you can actually bring the Warden to the surface and trap them in attack towers where they'll shoot the most overpowered sonic boom. This is the Pillager Freezer. It uses pistons to surround this Ravager in powdered snow, causing it to freeze. Just before it begins to take damage, the cold is released only to start back up again shortly. You can even see it shivering inside the powdered snow. Maybe it'll be nice to the villagers now. No, Endermen get furious when you look at their eyes. However, if you accidentally lock eyes with them, don't look away. As long as you keep staring at their eyes, they won't move. It's been 3 days. Hell, squids are cheaters. Outside of water, they'll take almost no knockback. Too bad their weakness is air. This new arrow existed in the game for only 2 days. The Arrow of Luck was a reward item from Fletcher villagers. Using the arrow would grant the villagers the luck effect, which would make it so you got better loot from fishing. Too bad you can't get this arrow in survival anymore. Minecraft likes to reuse a lot of textures, but did you know the respawn anchor was actually reusing something as well? The respawn anchor sound is actually just the nether portal sound reversed. In Bedrock Edition, you're able to leash boats, so if you put 2 villagers in a boat and then tie it to a fence post, they'll start bouncing up and down. These villagers probably aren't having very much fun, but it's interesting to look at.
I bet.
Take a close look at the hotbar, and you'll realize that the boxes and sand textures that are transparent. Mojang is very good at reusing textures. You can take Skulk Waves 3-dimensional. Just create a giant cube of Skulk sensors, set iron trapdoors along the outside, and just drop an item. It'll create amazing 3D waves all across the cube, and the sounds of the trapdoors closing are so nice. Villagers love to sleep at night, but if you ring a bell, they'll get back up immediately. To prevent the villagers from sleeping, you can make this build with an observer and a bell that will not let the villagers sleep. Looks like the villager has to get back to work. Water normally extinguishes fire, right? Well, most of the time, because you can shoot fire charges straight into bubble columns, and the fire charges will just float in the water. How is this even allowed? Occasionally, piglins will try to hunt down hoglins, but most people don't know their secret ability. Piglins have a small chance to celebrate and dance after successfully hunting down a hoglin. You can also run this command and you'll start dancing too. Mining fatigue is the worst, so when sailing over oceans, watch out for monuments, because even briefly floating over them can give you mining fatigue. It's impossible to put both Infinity and Mending on a bow because the developers thought it'd be too overpowered. However, from versions 1.9 to 1.11, it was actually still possible. If you applied Mending on your bow at this time, you'd have an illegal bow. You can fly faster or slower in spectator mode by scrolling. By scrolling up or down your hotbar, you can adjust the flying speed to as fast as 87 blocks per second, or as slow as practically not moving. There's a color in Minecraft that is everywhere, but almost no one has noticed. Look at ocean monuments, guardians, the warden, and even soul energy. What do you think all of them have in common? It's the cyan color. Could this have something to do with Minecraft's ancient lore? Goats can parkour? Turns out every once in a while, goats will jump and can easily cross 4-block gaps. But what's even more satisfying is that you can build an entire grid of goats, and by running this command, the goats will all jump across. Keep jumping. Forest trees normally stop growing after a certain height, but using commands, you can replace the chorus flowers with new seeds, and the chorus tree will keep growing. Keep doing this until the chorus tree is is huge, and breaking the bottom stem will collapse the entire structure. With a realistic physics mod, the breaking looks pretty realistic. Most people don't know this, but rabbits can actually eat crops. I don't mean handing the rabbit over some carrots, but if you leave your crops out in the open, rabbits can just walk over to it and munch it down. Foxes can also do this with berry bushes. If you're looking for a natural defense, you need bamboo and berry bushes. The bamboo will create a beautiful barricade, stopping mobs from entering, and the berry bushes will spike the mobs. This combination is surprisingly great at stopping mobs, while players can still slip around the tight bamboo gaps. This is a mob launcher. You can build it with just a few pistons, redstone, and slime blocks. To activate, just press this button, and anything can be launched from zombies, witches, or even charged creepers. Have you ever tried sleeping underwater? Because it's actually possible. If you swim down to the bottom of the nearest ocean and place your bed, you'll be able to get a good night's rest, while all the floating mobs can't touch you. If you trap a creeper in a boat and spin it at super speeds, the creeper will actually be dizzy. Its head will spin every so often and snap around, even though the boat is still. It also works with villagers and other mobs, so you can make them all get sick from spinning. But that's not nearly as bad as using this contraption. It'll be a bit expensive, but if you fill the dispensers with harming and healing potions, you can alternate them, making the mobs take damage but never die. If you kill a chicken and its corpse falls off a cliff, the corpse will slowly fall and keep on flapping its wings. I hope you didn't know this one. This machine scans your build and turns it into a particle hologram. It works by using a lot of command blocks and scanning all blocks in the selection region. Once your build is ready, just flick this lever and your creation will be turned to particles. This is so cool! If you throw a potion at a creeper and it explodes, a lingering potion will be left behind. Just a small sacrifice for sharing your potions. Ooh, creepers love to explode, but with this machine, you won't let them. Lead a creeper in the spot, and when it tries to explode, the trapdoor will get in the way and cancel the explosion. This machine makes me nervous, but it's also so satisfying. Gravel can be super annoying when mining. However, if you place a torch underneath, the gravel will all just turn into items. Wait, how is this still going? The warden is way too powerful, but it has one weakness: sound. Therefore, if we want to bother it, we simply place some blocks with pressure plates and bells on top for it to walk toward. Once it reaches the end, it'll loop back around. Or with just some pistons and redstone, you can make the warden go side to side without stopping, following the sound of the pistons. It's impossible to ride baby animals? Psych! When baby pigs were first added to Minecraft, you could saddle them up and ride on top. Move quicker! Okay, I see why this was removed. Beds can hide a secret entrance. Well, if you place blocks all around the bed except one spot, you'll spawn there when exiting the bed. Knowing this, you can place a bed in a secret corner, and by exiting it, you'll be in your secret stash. Endermen don't take projectile damage. They'll teleport out of the way if you try to snowball or bow them. Even if they have nowhere to teleport, the projectile will just hover on top of them. However, a projectile that can hit them is the dripstone. I finally got you! In Snapshot 15W31A, Mojang added one of the dumbest things possible. Usually to respawn the Ender Dragon, you have to use end crystals, which makes sense. But in this snapshot, you can just build a clay creeper face, and the Ender Dragon would respawn. I wonder who coded that. When you bone meal the grass, it may look like the flowers are randomly popping up, but they're not. Flowers in Minecraft generate in patterns and can be seen by constantly bone mealing and removing the grass. This looks trippy. Minecraft had a secret version called Survival Test. This was the first version of survival mode, and it had a lot of strange features. In this version, items stacked up to 99, mobs spawned with plate armor, and pigs dropped mushrooms. But if you don't want to burn down the house, you can also do the exact opposite with a water house. This base will fire out water at all sides of your base, so no mobs can enter. It's an extremely simple design, but very effective. Are you kidding me? If you don't want this to happen, there's an amazing trick you can do to make your chests invincible. Just waterlog them, and even if you set off a million explosions, your loot is going nowhere. Piglins go crazy for gold, and will even attack you if you're not wearing any. To torture them, set up a machine that drops gold, and as soon as the piglin runs toward it, the gold gets shoved into lava. Once the piglin sadly walks away, gold is dispensed again. The ultimate betrayal after getting their hopes up. Boats are meant for water, but I personally prefer them on top of cows. Boats are able to travel on top of entities, so by gathering a bunch of cows together and riding a boat on top, you'll be able to ride them like a wave. Just remember to hold out a piece of wheat, or they'll all leave you behind. You can make a Five Nights at Freddy's head in survival. A leather helmet on an armor stand is used as the mount. Chest plates for years. A wither skull is set on the top of the head, and lastly, a brown wool block is squished in. Scary! Glow sticks are only in the Education Edition, right? Not exactly, because on Bedrock version 1.17, if you went to a woodland mansion and found a fake portal room, you'll find something super secret inside the chest. For some reason, there will be an illegal glow stick here. In the earliest versions of the game, skeletons had a small chance to drop a quiver. This allowed you to shoot arrows without wasting arrows. However, this item was soon removed, and the Infinity enchantment was added with the same effect. Before the 1.9 update, there were 30 unused potions, some of which were the Foul Potion, Thin Potion, and Sparkling Potion. They had no effect and appeared to be retextures of other potions. I wish they were added still. Imagine drinking a stinky potion. You can never unlearn this. The Void World Super Flat preset spawns a stone platform centered at 8. 8 rather than 0. 0, so the stone platform is off-centered. My life is ruined. By placing a bunch of doors and pressure plates, you can create a labyrinth that is super annoying to get through. When players see this, they'll probably just turn back around. The old end portal frames were illegal. In a 1.9 snapshot, end portals used to look like broken blue blocks. The block emitted a light level of 15, and what's stranger is that they could be dropped as an item due to explosions. The item form of the end portal was a flat texture and had no name. You can climb up to 4-block tall pointed dripstone blocks. This is an ultra efficient staircase. If you name a Vindicator Johnny, it goes crazy and attacks any nearby mob. But it's actually pretty useful. You can use this crazy Vindicator to attack animals and create a passive mob farm. Striders need to touch lava or it will turn gray and take damage after a while. We can torture it thanks to this machine. A timer will make it so just enough lava is given to keep the Strider alive. The Strider will be constantly shivering for the rest of its life and getting occasional warmth. When texture files are missing, this strange update block used to show up. In some older versions of the Bedrock edition, you could place it with the /set_block_unknown command. Although the block looks like dirt, shovels were ineffective against the block. Did you know that Deep Slate was supposed to be named something else? Originally, Deep Slate was meant to be Grimstone, but Mojang decided that Grim sounded too negative. Yeah, okay, Mojang. The Nether portal can't be lit in the end, which makes sense, but if you cheat in a Nether portal block, then it'll work. However, when you enter back through the portal, you'll be sent back to the overworld. Check out this painting. The skull isn't the interesting part, but the world behind it. Seed hunters were able to find the exact world using the clouds and flowers seen in a clearer screenshot of the painting. Villagers love to kill villagers, but they actually have a wholesome side. Villagers will avoid killing the babies. You're safe today. Oh, I'm sorry. Creepers are the worst, but they have one huge fear: cats. By executing a command, it's possible to tie all nearby cats to a single creeper. This will make it spend its entire life running. And if you don't want to use commands, you can create a simple maze like this, where cats will be at every corner. You can also make the creeper just run side to side, which looks very funny. What's the smallest biome in Minecraft? Normally, biomes are huge, spanning many chunks. But there was a bug in version 1.16 that would generate a 5-block beach biome in the middle of a plains biome. Looks like there won't be any parties here. This is a gravity block duper. It worked on older versions of Bedrock Edition. If you send blocks like sand or gravel through it, it'll convert to any random item. So if you leave it on for a while, you'll eventually get items like the border block, fire block, bedrock, jigsaw, and light block, all from survival mode. When you write on signs, the letters are actually floating in the air. You can see it best by using a spyglass to zoom into the sides. Want the ultimate escape route? Just bring some leather boots and build a powered snow wall. Now, if anyone tries to pass this wall, they'll freeze to death. But if you wear your trusty leather boots, you can scale the entire wall like a pro. Most people know that iron golems sink to the bottom of the ocean because they're so heavy. But did you know they'll never drown? This'll make them stay stuck in the deep seas for the rest of their lives. Iron golems have another superpower. They also don't take any fall damage. So you can launch them off a mountain and they'll be perfectly fine. Stairs are able to shapeshift to create smooth corners, but it can also be used for wall staircases that perfectly blend right back into the wall. On version 1.18.1, putting horses on top of turtle eggs will make them spin in circles. I have no idea why this happens, but I guess horses just love to dance. With the scale attribute in 1.20.5, you can shrink yourself to become smaller than a button. Now you can live in tiny homes, under cauldrons, under beds, or in between stairs. This just made hide and seek way more fun. By placing some trapdoors and redstones, you can make a lava bridge. If anyone is trying to chase you from behind, just flick the switch and send them falling. This Reddit user created a working Rubik's Cube out of particles in Minecraft. It can be fully played, and the cube can even be rotated. Something equally impressive is this cube map that can be fully played by hitting these buttons. The Rubik's Cube even animates while turning. You can turn dirt into emeralds. First, turn that dirt into mud using a water bottle. Next, dry it out using dripstone, and finally, you can mine that clay and trade it for some emeralds from a stonemason. Maybe not the quickest way, but still a cool trick. Boats travel extremely quickly on ice. Some players have made dedicated ice boating tracks where you can glide across to the finish line. There are all kinds of tracks like soaring through mountains, underground caves, and even a rainbow road. It's super satisfying to drift across the ice. Minecraft dogs are super weak, so this developer decided to give them a slight buff with a data pack. Just throw an enchanted golden apple to supercharge your dog and it'll slice through all your enemies. Just a slight buff, nothing too overpowered. When Silk Touch was first added, using it on a spawner would actually work. Mining something like a zombie spawner would make the item drop, but when you placed it back down, something strange would happen. The spawner data data will reset and would just turn into a pig spawner. Stop making sounds. Sometimes parrots make a bit too much noise, so you can silence them by giving them a yummy treat. Just toss them over a cookie and it'll stop making sounds and also be poisoned. If an enderman is given invisibility, their eyes are still visible. The same goes for the spider's eyes and the blaze of smoke. What happens if you light an end portal with bedrock inside it? Lighting end portals normally deletes all blocks inside, but bedrock is special and should be impossible to break. Well, it turns out the end portal is stronger and destroys the bedrock. If you enchant your crossbow with piercing level 127, you can shoot through a ton of mobs. Just spawn a bunch of snow golems in a line, aim the bow straight, and slice through them all. If you try to break suspicious sand, it'll just turn into air. Even if you try to move it with a piston, the suspicious sand will drop no items. There is one way to get it though. If you place a bubble beam and let the sand fall onto it, the suspicious sand will eventually drop as an item. Before furnaces were added to the game, how did players smelt ores? To smelt, it was actually pretty cool. Players just threw the ores at the ground and lit them on fire. That's way quicker than furnaces. I wish that still existed. When end ships were first added, you could find a handwritten book written by one of the developers, Surge. The book said, "We will have something else here soon," which is true since the Elytra replaced it in the following update. Heal up already. Zombie villagers can sometimes take forever to heal, but placing iron bars and beds nearby actually speeds up the process. Up to 14 iron bars or beds can be placed near the zombie villager, and it'll increase the curing speed by a whopping 4.2%. Okay, that's pretty useless. There are 8 different goat horns in Minecraft, but another 8 were actually removed. In a 1.19 snapshot, goat horns could be combined with copper to create a completely unique horn. Unfortunately, this horn was removed and forgotten. Good luck trapping snow golems. Snow golems in Minecraft will actively try to leave any confined space they are in. They check for exits every few seconds and walk out. Too bad villagers aren't that smart. Rabbits move by jumping up and down. However, when you put them on top of slime blocks, they become stuck. They can't move at all, even if a fox comes for lunch. Water changes color depending on the biome, but in Bedrock Edition, it gets even stranger. If you can glitch water in the nether, it'll be red. Wolves hate rabbits. They'll actively try to hunt them down and won't even eat the food. For maximum suffering, set up a flowing water stream so the bunny constantly has to swim away, but can never escape. Wolf also can never kill it. Double torture. Baby mobs are very attached to their parents. They will constantly try to follow them, which is very cute. But if you're looking for a good torture method, it's perfect. The machine makes it so the baby pig is constantly trying to go to the parents, but gets pushed back. You have to be an evil villain to use this. TNT is extremely dangerous because it can destroy your entire build. But if you put a falling anvil on top of the prime TNT, the TNT will explode inside of the anvil, and no blocks will break. The amplified world type in Minecraft creates massive terrain, but most people don't know it was created by accident when Jeb entered incorrect numbers into the world generation code. There were 4 types of protection, but you can only apply 1 type per armor piece. This means you normally can't mix things like fire protection and blast protection on the same armor. However, on 1.14.2, this wasn't the case. There was a bug that lets you stack the different protection types and create the ultimate armor. You'll be way stronger with this armor. If you place a lot of enchanting tables, the books will all follow you around. Looking at the tables from above, you can see a nice pattern. If you rename a chest in an anvil, something really cool happens. The inventory inside will be labeled. You can also rename a command block with an anvil and it'll output from the respective name. Donkeys are awesome for carrying loot, but they're too slow compared to horses. But there's a way to get both storage and speed. By feeding a tamed horse and tamed donkey a golden carrot, you'll breed them and get the mule. This mob doesn't spawn naturally and must be bred. The mule speed is between the donkey and horse, and it can have storage. A great way to make sure mobs can't enter your base is by using alternating fence types. Mobs won't be able to get through, but you'll be able to just walk around. This enchanted sign actually existed, and it has a load of illegal enchantments. These signs appeared in the Minecraft 2.0 April Fool's update, where some zombie pigmen held enchanted battle signs instead of gold swords. Killing them would have a small chance to drop the battle signs. The different pigmans had different battle signs with unique enchants, so you can collect all different types. The Lily of the Valley flower is very special. It's an optical illusion that looks the same from all angles. It's like the flower is always watching you. Pigling bartering is super overpowered, but it's so slow. Luckily, Bedrock Edition pros found a way to speed it up by 100 times. All you need to do is grab a sticky piston and a gold block and hook it up to a super fast clock. Then when you drop the gold, the pigling will pick a piece of gold up every time the block moves, giving you supercharged trading. Finally, infinite gravel. Just what I've always wanted. This item has a secret ability. You may know that you can use fishing rods on mobs like pigs and zombies, but it also works on non-mobs. You can reel in things like shulker bullets, prime TNT, anvils, and even the dragon egg. Okay, Minecraft is not very realistic. Do you see the base? Well, it's actually in this water barrel. If you surround it with the other decorations, it'll blend right into the background. To To enter, just right-click the trapdoor under the barrel and close in on your way down. No one is finding your base here. If you break a mob skull, for some, the same texture as breaking soul sand particles come out. It's almost like the mob's soul is trying to come out. Eek! The only way to get barriers is in creative mode. Psych! There's a secret way to get them. Bastions were first added in the 20W16A snapshot, and a barrier block was accidentally placed. So if you went to this exact spot in the bastion and created a dispenser setup, you could switch to the one block at a time update and pick up the barrier. Then just update your world, and you'll have the barrier on your head. But something even cooler are snow golems. They can actually be stacked on top of each other, and when hostile creatures come nearby, they'll rapid fire them, giving us a snowball machine gun. They won't do damage, but they are amazing to knock mobs far away from your house. This is a disappearing island. For some reason, shulker boxes don't render unless you get close to them. Knowing this, you can build entire sky islands out of shulker boxes that appear only as you get close to it. The island would be invisible to everyone except those who know where it is. Blazes constantly shoot fireballs, which make them amazing for defending your base. You can set them around your house as turrets, and they'll light anyone who comes nearby on fire. If getting blazes is too hard, you can easily replace the blazes with skeletons and place lava in front of them, making them shoot flaming arrows to all intruders. To throw items through blocks, just throw it at a path block, because patch blocks are slightly smaller than a full block, and hoppers underneath can actually pick them up. This also works with other smaller blocks like soul sand and farmland. When a zombie tries to enter this house, it instantly starts to take damage. This is because beneath the trapdoors are magma blocks that burn the zombies alive. You can place other blocks on top of the magma block, like carpets and moss blocks, to camouflage it. Dolphins are extremely intelligent. If you feed it a fish, the dolphin will show you to the nearest treasure to thank you. So nice! Why were cakes added to Minecraft? You may think it was for celebrating birthdays, but that's not it. They were actually added because Minecraft won the Indie Game of the Year award in 2010. There is one place the trap chests can generate naturally in Minecraft. You may think they are found in desert pyramids or even jungle temples, but that's not it. The only time trap chests generate naturally is in the Faken portal room in Woodland Mansions. In 1.20.2, you can now put up to 64 items inside decorated pots. Only one type of item can be put in at a time, and when you're done, you could crack open the pot with an arrow. A single bucket of water can hold enough water to flood the entire world. Placing water at the top of a large lava pathway will turn all the lava to obsidian. Just a single bucket of water is able to do all this. Rabbits used to be way cooler than what we have now. Today, rabbits are boring and are just a food source, but back when they were first introduced, you could hold out a carrot and tame the actual rabbit. That's right, you could have rabbits as pets in early versions, and they'd even teleport to you. You could even breed entire armies of rabbits. I need them back! You can actually send redstone signals through leaves. When wood gets attached to leaves, it actually updates the data. This is especially useful for sending signals upwards. This can also be done with walls, because pushing a block to the side will update all the walls beneath instantly. This crossbow takes 70 years to reload. That's because the reload time starts going in reverse with any quick charge enchantment above level 5. And this crossbow is enchanted with quick charge level 6. Good luck trying to shoot me, pillager. What's the best wood in Minecraft? You probably think it's something like oak or cherry wood, but it's not even close. The best wood is actually bamboo, because it has an amazing ability. Bamboo can be completely automatically farmed with just a piston and observer, while other wood farms need to abuse TNT duping to destroy the wood, and thousands of bone meal to grow the sapling. Most people think there's only one stronghold in the entire Minecraft world, but there are actually way more. And it's not just 2 to 3 extra strongholds. In total, there are 128 strongholds that generate in each world. Back in 2012, you could create obsidian farms. A simple way to make this was by making a normal cobblestone generator, but placing redstone dust where the cobblestone would form. I can see why this strange bug was patched. It is possible to get your head through commands, so you can make a doll that tricks players into thinking you're home. Any thieves looking from afar will instantly turn back thinking that you're still there. Did you know armor stands can drown? If you put an armor stand underwater, eventually bubble particles will start coming out, showing it's drowning. I guess that means armor stands are living. Tridents with the channeling enchantment strike lightning whenever it lands on a mob or lightning rod. Using this feature, channeling tridents can be placed on top of end rods and bounced up and down to create a lightning generator. You can then surround your entire base with these, and good luck to anyone trying to break in. Check out this new block. If we correctly angle ourselves, this tunnel looks like a strange alien block, but flying around it, we can clearly see the tunnel. Using this illusion perspective, we can also create tiny diamond blocks like this. Cute! How do you get mob heads in Minecraft? Wither skeleton skulls are the easiest and are obtained just by killing them. You can get zombie piglin, creeper, or skeleton skulls by having a charged creeper explode them. And dragon heads can be found on pirate ships in the End Islands. I wonder how that got there. Weighted pressure plates can be held down by item frames. If you place an item frame and then a pressure plate, nothing will happen at first, but if you walk over it, the pressure plate will stay down. Sand normally falls down, but if you place them on torches, they'll float. You can stack them up really high, and once you have a pattern you're satisfied with, just break the bottom torch and watch it all crumble down. Hoglings can be very annoying to kill, but good thing they're terrified of warp fungi. You can separate a baby hogling from its parents, and they'll both be too afraid to cross. Or you can make them go crazy by trapping them inside a box surrounded by warp fungi. This is what you get for hitting me. Minecraft's textures are iconic because they're so simple, but you can completely change that. In Bedrock Edition, photorealistic maps were created using custom models from real life, and it's sometimes hard to even tell you're in Minecraft, but seeing these realistic corridors with Minecraft mobs looks pretty cursed. Water is impossible to place in the Nether in newer versions of Minecraft. Psych! Just bring a cauldron to the Nether and place some water. Or if you catch on fire, just splash yourself with a water bottle. The most classic way to protect your base is just by using 2 dirt blocks. To enter and exit, break 2 dirt blocks into the side of the world, and almost no one will be able to find it. Just make sure no one is spying on you. If you store a bunch of netherite in a shulker box and throw it into lava, the shulker box will be destroyed, but all the items will float back into the surface. But for some reason, if you throw it at a cactus, the items just get destroyed. My netherite! This will scare your dogs for sure. Lava will fall towards your dogs, but it will always stop just before burning your dogs. To make this, you just need a simple clock using repeaters, but make sure to set the timings right or whoops! Pandas are one of the cutest mobs in Minecraft, and I'll never hurt them. Psych! The worried panda type whimpers in fear whenever there's a lightning storm. When it cries, you can break any roof on top of the panda, or even just throw a channeling trident at it. Too bad this only works on Bedrock Edition. Slimes love to bounce around, almost too much. To punish them for their sins, you can turn them into volleyballs using iron golems. Just place 2 big golems like this, and they'll smack that slime back and forth forever. It's an epic automatic volleyball minigame. Try it on your friends too. Vindicators hate villagers. Knowing this, we can lock a villager in a minecart and spawn a vindicator in the middle. This will cause a wild goose chase that will go on forever. Something very satisfying are automatic farms because they'll work forever without you. This melon farm is super satisfying to watch. As the pistons break the melons, and items float down. Creating staircases wastes a lot of blocks, but if you're low on them, you can use torches to help build upwards. And by recycling the torches, you can create a really long staircase. You can actually walk a crop on any block, and as long as you don't update it, the crop will actually grow. This means you can grow carrots on anything, like on top of bedrock, or even netherrack. A classic way to torture the Enderman is with rain. In spectator mode, you can click on the Enderman to see its perspective. Each time it rains, they have to teleport all around the world to find a safe route. Foxes can actually get stuck in the snow. When foxes leap into the air to attack chickens, they won't always hit their target. Sometimes when they miss, their heads will be buried in snow, and they'll have to wiggle their feet to get out. This is the most broken seed in all of Minecraft. It causes everything to repeat forever. The trees and islands, glaciers, ravines, it happens on Java 1.15.1 on this seed. Using ender pearls, you can teleport through walls, so always make them 2 blocks thick or make sure to trap the other side if you don't want players sneaking through. Will a totem of undying work on your head? If you use commands to put a totem on your head and die, it unfortunately won't work. The totem only activates if it's in one of your hand slots. Campfires are great for smoke signals, but you can make them even better. To double their height, simply place a hay bale under it, and the smoke will double. You can use the smoke to come out of chimneys. This Minecraft seed has a mushroom island surrounded by every overworld biome in the game. You can find nearby villages, the deep dark and deserts. Just looking around from the center is insane. When you meet an Enderman, you're probably used to its purple eyes and black smoke that it emits, but the Enderman actually used to have green eyes. Screaming goats love knocking players off cliffs, but most people don't know that goats also attack armor stands. So we can set up a barrier preventing the goat from knocking the armor stand off, and it'll keep trying for the rest of its life. It'll even scream in frustration. In Bedrock Edition, there are unused texture files named Hoglin Meat Raw and Hoglin Meat Cooked. They're textured identically to raw and cooked beef. Maybe they were originally supposed to drop a new type of meat, but a much sneakier way to defend your base is by using sand. Normally sand will fall down, but you can place a bunch on top of connected signs above a large hole. So when a player tries entering your base, just break a single sign and the entire sand floor will come crashing down. Wolves can't teleport to you if there is no safe space to teleport to, but if you are completely surrounded in glass blocks, the wolf has a superpower and can teleport straight into it because it's a transparent block. That looks painful. Did you know it's impossible to breed polar bears? It's one of the few animals that can't be bred, so you can only find cubs naturally in the world. You also can't breed dolphins, which is quite a shame because I would love a dolphin army. Don't go near igloos. Well, at least with the bad omen effect, because some igloos can be detected as villages. This can happen if you cure the zombie villagers beneath the igloo. I don't have any items. Stop using the crafting table, at least to craft stone stairs. stairs because you end up wasting so much stone. It takes 6 stones to craft 4 stairs with the crafting table, but you can craft a stair with just 1 stone using the stone cutter. To prevent players from destroying your security house, use this. Elder Guardians give mining fatigue to all players in a 50-block radius, so anyone trying to destroy your beautiful builds won't have a very good time. Well, unless they have TNT. Gosh darn it, give me a better trade. If your villagers aren't giving you good deals, you can give them a nice shake-up. A simple looping machine like this one with ice and pistons in each corner will do the trick. Just place a pressure plate, redstone repeaters, a piston, and slime block to create the ultimate setup. The villager can never get out, and it'll be super fun to watch. Minecraft used to generate 2-block-tall obsidian walls around spawn. The walls would intersect at the center of the world, and were added for experimental purposes before coordinates were added. Tridents with loyalty will always come back. However, if your inventory is full, the trident will just spin around you. To take it even further, you can do this with a bunch of tridents to become the Trident Master. When you hoe a dirt block, it turns into farmland, but have you ever wanted that item? If you try to pick it up, it'll just turn back into dirt. Silk Touch won't even work on it. So how do you get it? Well, you have to go to the 1 block at a time update, grab the farmland, and then chuck it on your head. When you transfer the world to the latest version, you'll have the item. Something pretty satisfying is that a button perfectly fits on a dropper's mouth. This is perfect. This is the Mob Scarer 3000. Arrows will come out of the dispenser, but none will connect. It is perfectly timed to shoot arrows at the mob, but block it at the last second with a piston. This can be applied to various mobs, so use your imagination. Wandering traders always drink invisibility potions at night, but if you kill it mid-drink, there is an 8.5% chance that the potion will drop it. Give me that! If you place string on top of lava, for some reason, it won't make any sounds. This way you can prank your friends and lead them to lava. Did you know the top of a desert temple can perfectly fit a fully powered beacon? Fitting a max beacon inside is so satisfying. Skeletons are a dangerous mob because they have aimbot. But did you know a skeleton can actually shoot itself? And no, I don't mean a skeleton shooting another skeleton. If a skeleton aims directly vertical, the arrow will fly into the sky and land right down on itself. How tragic. There used to be a secret Easter egg hidden inside the beacon. If you took a look at the texture file for the beacon beam, you could find map icons hidden inside of it. How strange is that? Note blocks can play different instruments. To do so, just change the block underneath it. Wood creates a string bass, sand creates snare drum, glass creates clicks, and clay creates flute sounds. These are all the different options. Did you know that to find a brown mushroom, a red mushroom needs to be struck by lightning, which is a very rare event. But another way of encountering a brown mushroom is by breeding it. So there's only a 1 in 1024 chance for the baby mushroom to be brown. Minecraft almost had lore. Back in 2014, Dinnerbone created something called the Ultimate Land. This would include the entire game story and would involve the dragon egg and endermites. But when he tweeted about it, he mentioned he hasn't discussed it with the team yet, so it probably got rejected. Piglins have enemies. Wither skeletons and piglins both actively try to attack and kill each other, but baby piglins aren't as brave and will run away from both wither skeletons and withers. By placing 2 honey blocks side by side, there is actually a small gap you can shoot arrows through. If you don't have honey blocks, this can also be done with just a pot next to a block and shooting through the sides of that. Villagers can be very smart. They calculate the perfect paths to escape zombies, but you can also use this against them. By creating a pathway in the sky, the villagers will try to run away from the zombies, but will be stuck in a loop. You can make all sorts of pathways to make the villagers go crazy. Piglins are super scared of this. When you place down a blue lantern, the piglin will scurry away. You can use a piston to open and close the light from either side of a wall, making the piglin run in fear side to side. Better give me ender pearls next time. When Sculpt breaks down, it drops some experience orbs. To break it instantly, use an efficiency 5 hoe, and you'll be able to shred through it all and experience these satisfying sounds. There's a way to teleport thousands of blocks in survival. If you block a Ravager's attack with a shield, the Ravager will power up and knock all enemies back. Using this mechanic, players can travel thousands of blocks almost instantly. Alex and Steve can change height in Bedrock Edition. Just go into the character creator where you can select the smallest height. This seems overpowered in PvP. Minecraft's beacon texture has changed 4 times. It first just looked like a glass block and had a fuzzy beam. Then a weird rotating crystal was added inside. Next, it was changed to a diamond glass box and had a jagged beam. Finally, it was changed to the beautiful beacons we have today. By filling up walls with lava and surrounding them with water, you'll create regenerating walls. This will make it so everyone trying to mine through will have a very difficult time because the cobblestone walls will just keep on healing. But this is the meanest way to trap villagers. By placing a honey block and then a cauldron on top, any villager inside of it will be stuck for all eternity. Well, until you let them go. You probably know jumping and attacking will deal a critical hit. But did you know bows can deal critical hits too? To do a critical shot, you don't jump and shoot a bow. But instead, if you fully charge your bow, it makes the arrow have a 25% chance of doing a critical shot and doing extra extra damage. So that's just another reason to fully charge your bow back instead of bow spamming. And crystals make amazing defense because they explode instantly. You can set up the ultimate defense by aiming dispensers with snowballs at the end crystals. And whenever trespassers come by, flip the switch. What if projectiles could bounce off slime blocks? Well, this mod makes it work. You can bounce arrows around corners or even throw ender pearls against walls. But what I love most is bouncing snowballs off close walls. They'll bounce back and forth rapidly. You can also toss a lot of potions to create these amazing curves. When you enter water, your FOV is actually lowered by 10. This is done to simulate light refraction from real light. Raw iron and gold both have to be smelted in a furnace to make them usable. But did you know diamonds can be smelted too? You won't be getting diamond ingots, but you're actually able to smelt the ore variations to get the mineral. This works with emerald, redstone, and lapis ore as well. With 8 chiseled stone bricks and a netherite, you'll craft the lodestone block. Most people don't know that if you right-click it with a compass, then the compass will start pointing at the block. Almost all of the Minecraft paintings are based on real art from Christopher Zetterstrand. His artwork is now one of the most exposed pieces since Minecraft has sold over 300 million copies. While most fish are pretty boring, salmon have a superpower. When near a waterfall, salmon can swim up to 5 blocks of water. They're better swimmers than me. Water's special because when it collides with another water block, it'll create a new source block. So if you create an ocean-only world and erase a large section of it, the water will regenerate super quickly. And it's kinda cool. Every item needs to have a name. If you try to delete the name in an anvil, you won't be able to take out the item. But on this version, it wasn't the case. Here, you were able to straight up delete the name of an item and get the illegal nameless item. Hoglings have a strange texture very few people know of. If you look under its nose, you'll see that one nostril is bigger than the other. Endermen hate water, but for some reason, if you put an Enderman in a water cauldron, they don't seem to mind. What's even weirder is that you can put a lava cauldron underwater, and if you go into it, you'll burn while underwater. This is a TNT slide. Click this lever to spawn a bunch of TNT. The TNT is special because it'll never ignite. It'll just gently flow down until it starts bouncing up and down. The wave almost looks like a really long snake, and when the TNT reaches the bottom, it'll drop off to the void. In 2018, Minecraft held a cat vote to add a 9th cat skin to the game. The 3 cats that made it to the final vote were Jelly, Zach, and Coco. In the end, Jelly would end up winning, which is actually the YouTuber Good Times with Scars cat. I'm just glad the middle cat didn't win. The Fire Aspect book has a superpower. In the Bedrock edition of Minecraft, you can light a TNT by right-clicking it with the Fire Aspect book. You can also light the TNT with the Fire Aspect sword. I wish Java edition had this. Axolotls are magical creatures. If an axolotl takes damage underwater, it will play dead and give itself regeneration. The attacking mobs will also ignore it while it's playing dead. Axolotls can also save your life. When you assist in killing a mob, the axolotl will grant you regeneration and remove mining fatigue. Who knew axolotls were so powerful? Slime cubes and magma cubes can be any size you want. Just adjust their size with commands, and you can have one that's as large as your world. But watch out, because the larger they are, the more damage it deals, faster it moves, and higher it jumps. Run for it! Dogs are normally man's best friend, but sometimes they make mistakes. Teach them a lesson by jump scaring them with a skeleton. Then when they run to the other side, a block is shoved in their face and a skeleton appears on the other side, causing it to run back and forth. Everyone knows you can milk cows, but there's another secret mob you can milk. You might be thinking the other mob is a pig or even a horse, but the other mob is actually a goat. I guess getting goat milk makes sense. Minecarts are infamously slow, but there's a way to make them go at supersonic speeds. Just put a boat in a minecart and it'll race forward. This is way more efficient than powered rails. How much can Skulk spread from a single Skulk catalyst? When a mob dies near a catalyst, block Skulk will spread. So if you spawn a ton of Ravagers nearby, you can see the Skulk quickly spread and infect the land. My world is ruined. There's no way you knew this. If you drop an item into the ocean, dolphins will start playing with it. They'll bop the item with their noses, sending it flying. Too bad this only works on Java Edition. The most cursed block in Minecraft is probably the petrified oak slab. It looks just like a normal oak slab, but has to be mined with a pickaxe and won't burn. The endermite looks awfully suspicious to another mob. Well, turns out the endermite is just a retextured silverfish. That's a lot more purple. Everyone knows that Skulk sensors detect vibrations, but you can create a super overpowered trap by placing a ton of TNT underground with a Skulk sensor next to it. Make sure to walk away carefully, and the next bypasser to walk over will be dust. But to make any TNT trap 100 times deadlier, you can swap out TNT for a ton of TNT minecarts, and it'll create an instant explosion. One of the best ways to not get raided is by having your base impossible to reach. By building your base at the world border, you'll make it so very few people will want to come attack you. And you can even build your base against the border for extra protection. How much durability do I have left? Most people don't know that you actually press F3 and H to enable advanced tooltips and show no exact durability left. Pandas will eat anything you give it. Normally, pandas will only eat bamboo, but if you summon one holding an item, it'll munch it down. This works with any item from TNT to command blocks. That must hurt its teeth a lot. You may know that wolves are scared of creepers, but they have one other weakness: llamas. Wolves think llamas are giant sheep, so they get super scared and run away. So next time your dog is misbehaving, trap it in a room with a llama. I always thought the recipe book was just part of the GUI, but it turns out it's an actual item. It can be obtained just by giving yourself a knowledge book with commands. Something pretty cool is that you can also attach NBT data to the book, so when you right-click it, it'll add recipes to your recipe tab. Zombies can't jump over azalea bushes, so make sure to surround your house with them to create a natural-looking barricade. How long do Minecraft items take to despawn? Any dropped item will despawn after 5 minutes. Shot arrows will despawn after 1 minute. But there's a key detail: the item despawn counter only goes down if the chunk is loaded, so items in unloaded chunks will remain forever. The piercing enchantment on crossbows makes arrows go through mobs, but it has a trick. By using a piercing bow and a tipped arrow of weakness, you can affect all villager zombies in a line with weakness and cure 4 villagers at once. Or you can just use a splash potion. This is the burning trench. If you just have a normal hole of magma, the mobs won't go down. But for some reason, when you dig a slanted trench like this, the mobs will just run straight down to their deaths. You guys aren't very smart. In older versions of Minecraft, you could make 6-sided pistons by bugging out the redstone. Unfortunately, you couldn't activate it with redstone, but they looked beautiful and were used as supply crates on some servers. But if you want a house no one can enter, try this lava base. You might notice that there are a bunch of dispensers placed around here. They are placed all around the house. Once you're inside the house, you can activate them with a lever, and the dispensers will all shoot out lava, surrounding your house with lava, ensuring maximum protection. You can do this very simply by connecting dispensers under the house to a redstone line. This house may look safe to enter, but it's actually extremely deadly. Underneath each of the trapdoors are poisonous pufferfish. Anyone taking a walk over it will instantly be poisoned. These lava pools are amazing for hiding secret bases. The lava is held up by signs, allowing you to jump right through and into a pool of water. To make sure you don't take damage, jump from a higher point to gain momentum. Just make sure you jump into the right spot. Hot help! You probably know that rain makes fishing more efficient, but how much more? If a bobber is directly exposed to the sky, rain will reduce fishing time by 25%. For some reason, mobs aren't able to walk over rails, so you can set up a simple piston to push up rails, and no monster will be able to enter your house. You can also use 2-end rods like this, or lightning rods if you're feeling extra fancy. Just be careful of skeletons. Owie! You may know about the snowy grass block, but did you know it has a secret twin? If you place snow on top of mycelium, it ends up looking just like snowy grass. And you can even see beneath it by using a debug stick. If you break the bottom of a chorus tree, all the other blocks will break, including the flower at the top. And if you don't want to build all the way just to break the flower, you can actually shoot arrows at it, or even throw a trident to get the flower. Now I can grow even more chorus trees. Most people just use a flint and steel to light nether portals, but there are way more creative ways to light them. You can use anything from lightning, exploding beds, or even gassed fireballs. The void is the deadliest thing in Minecraft. It will kill you no matter how much armor you have, but there is one way to survive it: enchanted golden apples. This player successfully survived 100 days in the void by filling up shulkers and his inventory with enchanted golden apples. On Halloween, zombie skeletons, zombified pigmen, and wither skeletons can sometimes spawn wearing pumpkins or jack-o'-lanterns on their heads. If you want a super cool way to defend your base, try this bomber plane. It duplicates TNT on any of your enemies below. Skeletons are bow masters, but what happens if you give them a crossbow? You'd expect them to draw them back just like pillagers, but unfortunately, they're not smart enough and just try to whack you with it. Ouch! There are 2 crops that can grow in the dark. Normally, shutting the lights off won't let crops grow. However, both sugarcane and mushroom can grow in pitch black. This is not a dead bush. Do you see it? That's right, it's placed on grass, but dead bushes can only be on top of sand. This is actually called a shrub, and since it looks so similar to the dead bush, they were actually merged together on version 1.13, and now only desert bushes exist. The only way to get name tags is from loot chests, but there's a way to duplicate them. If you name a big slime with a name tag and then kill it, each one of the baby slimes will have the same name as the parent slime. This village house is 146 blocks tall. The entire village is smashed against the side of a mountain, causing these strange buildings. This giant village happens on this seed in 1.12. Most of the time, name tags are needed to rename mobs, but you can use an anvil to rename an axolotl bucket and it'll rename the actual axolotl as well. Minecraft's old fish texture used to look like this, but there is still one place you can't find it. The fisherman's village has their old raw fish tied to its waist. Everybody knows about packed and blue ice, but there's actually another illegal ice type very few people know about. It's called frosted ice. It forms when you walk over water while wearing amazing Frost Walker boots. But the crazy thing is that it's an actual item you can get. In the Bedrock edition, you can just slash. Give it to yourself with commands, and when you place the block down, the frosted ice will crack away and turn into water. You may know that water can hydrate crops up to 4 blocks away. But did you know it can work through air? That's right, it doesn't matter what blocks are between the farmland and water. It'll still hydrate. This is a laser door. By using some redstone, fence gates, and beacons, you can create a security door that looks like lasers are blocking the way. When you turn it off, the beacon turns off and the fence gates beneath the snow open, allowing you to cross. You probably know that placing sand on top of TNT makes it explode underwater, but something lesser known is that other falling blocks work as well, like the dragon egg. This is the most valuable Minecraft account. The account Deadmau5 has 3D year models coming out of the skin. It is completely unique and was a gift from the creator of Minecraft, Notch. The soul speed enchantment makes you travel at super speed on soul sand, but it used to be extremely broken. On this snapshot, if you use soul speed boots on soul sand, your boots will take damage until they have a negative durability. What's the best enchantment for armor? Protection, unbreaking, or maybe even thorns? How about none of them? Because when you enchant your armor on this old version, you just get the enchanted enchantment on your equipment. I guess this is the best. You can brew potions with a crafting table. By crafting suspicious stew, you can get 9 different potion effects. The effect depends on the type of flour you use. Corn flowers result in jump boost. Alliums give you fire resistance, but one flower is special. If you craft the stew with a lily of the valley, you'll be given the poison effect. This is because the lily of the valley is poisonous in real life. When walking over amethyst, a pretty sound gets played. It happens with each step, so if you give yourself speed and run over it, you'll hear more jingles. But by giving yourself a speed strength at 255, you'll zoom over the amethyst crystals and play an entire musical. Okay, this doesn't sound very good. Iron golems will kill you if you hit a villager, so let's subject them to some payback. This machine bounces the iron golem up into lava and bounces it back down before it dies. Then it happens again and again and again. It's an endless torture cycle of fiery pain. When Endermen were first added to Minecraft, they could pick up any block, including bedrock and monster spawners. This could be abused and let players obtain illegal items in survival. Did you know that the crafting cable can be used as a compass? On its northern part, there will always be a texture with a saw and a hammer, regardless of what direction you're looking when placing the block. Why are gold tools so weak? Gold is harder to find than iron, but still seems way worse. The reason for this is because gold is a soft metal in real life. Normally, flooding your house would be something you want to avoid, but doing so will actually make it so mobs don't spawn inside. However, if you're not looking to devalue your base, you can also just use slabs as the floor, and they'll work too. It's impossible to stack totems, right? Well, there's a glitch to overstack almost any item in survival mode. It happens on version 1.12. All you have to do is drop the item and click the autocraft menu very quickly. Once you pick the item back up, it'll be stacked. The glitch works with all kinds of items, like swords and even helmets. It's always satisfying to kill a ton of mobs using Sweeping Edge, but if you use commands to spawn a ton of mobs in a single block and kill them, they'll form beautiful patterns when they die. Did you know it's possible to make an ender dragon farm? It works by shooting an arrow at light speeds using TNT and killing the ender dragon in a single shot. It's pretty overpowered and can be used to farm experience points. Have you ever noticed observers have a face? Well, it didn't always look like this. Instead of a face, there was a small sensor, but because both sides of the observer looked like a sensor, it was easy to get them confused. Luckily, Jeb kept getting confused too, and just added a face. Mob heads are super easy to get, but how about that Steve head? You can clearly see it in the creative menu along with the other heads, but you can't find it almost anywhere in the world. Not even killing a Steve player will drop the skull. That's because it exists here, on the 1 block at a time update. Endermen can spawn with almost any random block in their hand. Eventually, one will spawn holding the Steve head, and you can snag it off the ground. Hoppers are amazing for transporting items, but they're so boring. For a more exciting way, try using an ice and bubble beam staircase. The items will glide across the ice and bounce on the bubble beams all the way to the top. The items look like they're dancing upwards. You can make an indestructible wall. To create it, just use stairs and waterlog them with water. This will create a wall that TNT can't blow up. But if players try sneaking through, you can set observers on the other side rigged with a ton of TNT. How do you cross 1 block gaps without jumping? You may think I'm using speed or ladders to cross these blocks, but I'm not. By turning your head 45 degrees and walking diagonally, it actually makes you just fast enough to walk over block gaps without jumping. By throwing an ender pearl and then lowering your render distance, you'll freeze the pearl in an unloaded chunk. You can then do whatever you have to do, and once you're ready to teleport, raise your render distance, which will load the pearl in and you'll teleport. This is called pearl hanging, and pro speedrunners use it to travel across the world super quickly. If your base is in the desert, you should probably use cactus. You can surround your entire base with cactus like this, and the mobs will push each other into it. But to stop players, You can put boats around the base, and all mobs that get trapped in them will attack players trying to enter. Skeletons are one of the most annoying mobs, but you can get revenge with boots. Just toss them some Frostwalker boots and leave the skeleton on an island without trees. Once it turns day, the skeleton will try running to the water, but will never be able to stop burning. This works with other undead mobs too, like zombies. When you sign a book, your username will be attached to it, but by using commands, you can set the author to anyone you want. It even works with Notch. Giving a wolf maximum regeneration, health boost, and absorption effects makes its tail spin in circles. This is because tail angles represent a wolf's health, so stacking all these effects makes the tail go crazy. Man, this is cursed. Dolphins are unique among sea creatures because they can drown. Dolphins can't stay underwater for more than 4 minutes, or they'll take damage. And they can't stay outside of water more than 2 minutes, or they'll die as well. Make up your mind already. Iron golems are one of the toughest mobs in the game, which is why they make a great defense. Once it turns night, just unleash the beasts, and they'll slay out any hostile creatures nearby. Foxes will try to hunt and kill chickens, but if you place lava above the chicken, when the fox jumps to kill it, the fox will burn completely. It's a great way to give them instant karma. And if you want to go even further, you can make a machine like this one that will push the fox back each time it tries to jump after the chicken. Not today. This wall seems perfectly normal, but if you use a magical wand on it, the bricks will move apart, revealing a secret entrance. This amazing contraption was made by McMakistein, and once you cross the entrance, you can close it up, ensuring no one follows you. If you turn on subtitles, you can see what sounds are playing around you. This can be really useful when trying to find lava pools underground. But something cursed also happens when you spawn a guardian. Who decided to call the sound a moan? Fish need water to live, but did you know they can survive on land for a short period of time? So with some redstone trickery, you can make them perpetually flop around, giving them just enough water to not die. It's like waterboarding, but for fish. There's adoption in Minecraft? Well, sort of. Baby animals always follow a parent animal, but if you kill the parent, the baby animal will just start following a different parent. How tragic. Endermen can't be shot with snowballs, eggs, or arrows, but if you use a tipped arrow on the Enderman, although the arrow would miss, the Endermen still get the effect. Piglings are evil and try to crush turtle eggs, so if you want to bother them, you can place a turtle egg surrounded by lava. Trapdoors are also placed so they think they can reach it. The piglings will try to break the egg, but end up falling and burning. This way, we will avenge the turtle, so it's not completely wrong. Minecraft is famous for its blocky 3D world, but what if it was 2D? Well, YouTuber Mr. actually created a 2D Minecraft world using data packs and plugins. There's everything from parkour, zombies, placing blocks, and caves. Awesome! Cauldrons left in the rain will fill up with water, but if it is filled up with potions, the water level won't go up. There's a way to harvest thousands of crops at once. Crops need light to survive, so if you turn off all lights once the crops are finished growing, all the crops will instantly break, saving you tons of time. Leaving your Minecraft world causes your cat to sit down, and if a cat sits down on a chest, it can't be opened. So with a redstone contraption, you can set it up so a cat will sit down on a chest and send a redstone pulse whenever you log off. You can set up perfect traps to activate only when you leave. How do you make floating minecart rails? Just place trapdoors and then rails on top. The rails can then be opened and it'll look like the rails are floating. Make sure not to break one of the rails though, or they'll all break. But that's not as overpowered as this, because you can create a bazooka. You see, gas can actually be trapped in minecarts and you can bring them to the overworld. The gas can be put in a cage and will act as a bazooka, shooting any players that try to invade your base. It can be activated and deactivated with a piston. Axolotls can be used as balloons. Well, if you leash a bunch of axolotls and then give them all the levitation effect, they'll soar into the sky, giving you colorful balloons. We can also attach them to a fence to use as decoration. This can be done with other mobs as well, but they aren't as colorful as axolotls. Slimes actually move faster depending on their size, meaning if you summon a slime of size 8, it can outjump the player when sprinting. And the bigger you go, the faster they become. Ah, get away from me! Most people use obsidian to explosion-proof their builds, but there is a much better way. Try using leaves instead because you can waterlog them, making them completely blast-proof. When you kill most mobs, they'll go on their sides, but spiders are the only mob that does a 180-degree flip when it dies. Endermen are great at escaping danger, but not if it's surrounded by water. By putting it in an underwater prison like this one, the Enderman will be in constant fear. But if you change one glass for a grass block, the Enderman will eventually pick up the block and dig its own grave by letting water in. Bolts are supposed to negate all fall damage, but sometimes it for some reason doesn't work. This is because Minecraft's code is weird, and if you fall exactly 49 blocks off a boat, the boat just breaks and you'll end up dying. What's weirder is if you place one block higher to 50 blocks, you'll be perfectly fine. This game is so weird. Villagers are terrified of raids. When they hear one coming, they all scatter into their homes, and some villagers will even shake and sweat in fear. All the way until version 1.8.9, for some reason, eggs and snowballs both deal damage to the Ender Dragon, and you can actually kill it with them. They didn't work on other mobs, just the Ender Dragon. Who knew the dragon's weakness was eggs and snowballs. Ah! You're falling in the air but don't have a bucket? Luckily, you have a potion of levitation, because by perfectly timing the potion just before you hit the ground, you can save yourself. Close one. Powdered snow is great for trapping invaders, but the problem is that it's so easy to escape. But you can improve the trap by combining powdered snow with slime blocks. Creating a contraption like this is impossible to escape, even with an efficiency 5 shovel. They'll be goners unless they have a flaming bow or buckets. Someone please help me out! You can use diamonds as fuel? If you just try to put diamonds in themselves, it won't work. However, jukeboxes actually cost 1 diamond to craft, and those can actually be used as a fuel. That is such a waste though. Crops take forever to harvest, which makes this automatic crop machine that much more satisfying. The water will flow down, crushing all crops layer by layer, and the items will be brought to the bottom where you can pick them up. Smooth variants of blocks like quartz and sandstone have a higher blast resistance than their normal versions. For example, smooth quartz has a blast resistance of 6, while the normal block of quartz has a blast resistance of 0.8. You can get smooth blocks by putting the normal blocks in a furnace. Something really cursed is that if you get water in the nether, you can actually fish there and get items. I wonder how fish got there. When animals die by fire, they're supposed to drop cooked food. But for some reason, if animals die by campfire, the food won't be cooked. This doesn't make any sense. This layered defense is great for stopping mobs. Just place a border of water to prevent endermen. The honey will trap some mobs, and the final layer of lava will stop all the rest. Pickaxes are super useful for mining, but they're even better for farming. Using a fortune enchanted pickaxe or crops makes them actually drop more. On top of that, for some reason, pickaxes don't break if you use them to harvest crops, so you can harvest potatoes forever. Players are always looking for secret entrances, so you can prepare a fake one. It can be anything like a moving bookshelf door, but make sure it's somewhat obvious. When the button is pressed, instead of opening a door, an anvil is released from high up. Most items crafted with wood use the oak texture, but not all of them. Item frames and fletching tables both use birch, while cartography tables and grindstones use dark oak. Then there are barrels, which just use spruce. Fire burns wood, but not this one. Note blocks are made out of wood and redstone, and it can catch on fire from lava, but never burn away. If you ever wanted to build a bubble elevator, don't use water. Instead, stack up with ice blocks above a soul sand block, and then mine it all down with a pickaxe. All the ice blocks will turn into water source blocks, and the bubble stream will send you flying right back to the top. Whee! Placing a block next to a cactus will destroy it, allowing for some crazy automatic cactus farms. But something pretty cool is that there is actually a way to place a full block next to a cactus. Just stack up a bunch of snow layers and the cactus will be perfectly fine. Or you can even place powdered snow next to it. Have you ever wondered how spiders climb walls? It turns out that in the game code, spiders treat all walls like they have ladders on them. This makes a lot of sense. Steve's skin has changed a few times. Steve's skin used to have a beard, but it was eventually shaved right off. However, in 2022, Mojang changed this and added the beard back. But I always thought the beard was a smile. One of the best ways to hide your base is underwater because very few people actually check here. To make sure no one can find it, choose a spot that has a lot of seagrass and hide the base around the corner so no light goes through. Super secure and efficient. How do you die in spectator mode? Mobs can't attack you and TNT doesn't move you. So how? There are two ways. If you fly all the way down below the void, you'll meet your end. But also, you can just use the /kill command, but that's cheating. There's an infinite bone meal hack. To do so, you just use bone meal on a moss block and it'll sprout a bunch of mosses. You can mine it all and put it back into a composter, which will give slightly higher returns. Or you can just use a skeleton farm. This is a pearl spear. You can make it with only 2 command blocks. The armor stand in the middle is rotated and the ender pearls are summoned where it's looking. Once the armor stand finishes, you'll have a floating ender pearl sphere. But it gets even better. If you light a TNT in the center of it, all the pearls will burst outwards, creating this beautiful effect. What happens if realistic water collides with sponges? Let the water flow down and it seems like there's still some water left. How about a sphere ball of water versus a sponge bowl? It seems like most of the water got taken out. Who wants the best level for finding ancient debris? There are actually 2 optimal levels. If you strip mine, the best Y level would be at 15. But if you use explosions, the best Y level is at Y13. Piglings hate when you steal from them. If you mine gold or even just open a chest, they'll come swinging at you. But something strange is that they'll even attack you if you even just open an ender chest. Hey, these are mine! You can get the nether portal block? In Bedrock Edition 1.17, build this redstone contraption that pushes a snow block and lights a nether portal. You can then use a silk touch shovel to instantly break the moving snow, which will bug out and let you farm infinite nether portal blocks. In older versions of Bedrock Edition, you could get the end gateway block. You had to place down stone blocks like this, and then by spawning the wither on its side, it'll cause the end gateway to break into an item. Unfortunately, this bug doesn't work in the latest version. edition, but it was a cool glitch you could have done back then. Ravagers can break leaves and crops in Java edition, but in Bedrock edition, they're way more powerful. Ravagers can break blocks like pumpkins, saplings, sugarcane, and roses. Stop grieving me! With just a piston, end rod, and some redstone, you can create the ultimate machine. Just put the sheep in a boat and activate the machine. But that's not all. You can also put the dinner bone name tag on the sheep. Stop using fences. Instead, you should use trapdoors, because by placing them around mobs, you'll create a barrier that you can walk over, but the mobs can't. These sheep are not very smart. If you wanted a cat in older versions of Minecraft, you had to explore the jungles and find an ocelot. These quick animals would have to be fed fish, and then they'll magically turn into a cat. This feature was eventually changed, and now you can just find abandoned cats in villages to tame. If you can't tell if a chest is trapped or not, here's an easy test. Just place a redstone next to it, and if the redstone points towards it, it's a trap chest. But this doesn't happen to normal chests.